Welcome to Franchise Focus. I'm your host, Lisa Linkowski. I am a certified franchise consultant representing hundreds of franchise concepts across the country. And Franchise Focus is all about interviewing those experts in the space of franchising and owners. Franchise owners. And in studio today, we have Paget Rhee, who is the owner of multiple Be Balanced hormone and wellness centers in and around the Central Pennsylvania area, and welcome, Paget.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I am very, very excited to have you with us in studio. And, you know, Paget, it is so great. I love your story, and I want the audience to hear what led you to becoming an owner of multiple Be Balanced franchise
It's so
concepts.
funny because I had no intention of being a franchise owner. That was never my intention, but I had actually run a very large nonprofit in inner city DC, and what we did in DC was really about offering hope, and hope came in so many different packages to the communities that I worked for. But I stepped down from that when my children were young and moved back to Pennsylvania and adopted my middle daughter from foster care. And through her special needs and all the challenges that she's experienced, I found myself going through early menopause, issues of weight gain, not sleeping, depression, all the things that can be hormonally related. And somebody introduced me to Be Balanced. And I just showed up. I didn't even have an appointment. I was just like, I just got to do whatever it takes. I got to fix this problem. And I went to Be Balanced, and it changed my life. Not only did I lose 60 pounds in 3 months, which was great, but I felt more like me again. I was like, where have I been? And so I was 45 when I did that. And it was enlightening to me, changed my world. But at the same time, they were starting to franchise. A business consultant that I was friends with said to me, hey, this is a great opportunity. You should start the first Be Balanced franchise. And so that's how I ended up there.
Insane, right?
Yeah.
So you sat there, you were a client, you believed in it, it worked, and then you were like, I'm going to now own this.
It was crazy.
Why not? You already saw your proof of concept that you saw that it worked, right?
Absolutely.
So you have family. Did they think you were crazy? What was their support level with you on this? Were they going, go, go, go? Or were they going, are you completely out of your mind? Walk me through that.
So I had probably a different circumstance than most people do. So actually, even crazier, I did this program in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is the home office. It was the founding center. And at the same time, the same business consultant that knew me knows my family because we had been in business together. So at the same time that I was doing the program, I didn't tell anyone because so many people start these programs and they wonder, can I do it and can it work? You know, both things have to come into play. And sometimes you don't want to tell people that you're really hopeful on this new diet or program that might change your world. And I did it, but didn't tell anyone. And the first month I lost 24 pounds and I went to my family and I said, okay, I just did this thing. And they said, oh my gosh, this same friend of ours came and said, you know, we think Paget should run this first center of this new initiative. And so my family was actually our investors in my business as well. So I might have a different circumstance than some families, but they also saw my transformation, saw that it worked, and wanted to be part of that, and were really passionate about it.
And that makes life so much easier when you
easier.
have your support. It's something I say to my candidates all the time, is that bring your partner, your family in immediately, because if they do not have a buy-in into this, and they're sitting there in the back of you the entire time going, I don't know, I think that this is going to be really hard. That's a tough way to start your business. So having that whole family support as investors, no less, on top of that, that really helps you out. But it's also daunting because then you're like, what if it doesn't work?
Exactly.
And then now
we
you
have a whole
family,
other level of issues, but
right?
yes.
But clearly that's not the case here. It sat there and it worked. And then how long did it take before you went to open up the second location?
Yeah, and you know, and I don't think this is normally the case now. So now with our brand, I'm seeing people open second and third locations much quicker, even consecutively with one another or in 6 months. But for me, since I was the first one, you know, I'd love to say we were all prepared to be a franchise, but I don't know if that was really the case. There was a little bit of work to be done, and I think, you know, you don't know what you don't know till you get into it. So I didn't open my second one for 18 months. Okay. And then I opened my third one about 4 months later. So it became easier and easier as we went along, and we learned a lot, and it was just so exciting to kind of see the growth and the progression, and it's just been an amazing ride. So
first year that you opened, when was that?
So opened in January 5th of 2015.
Okay, 2015. So, wow, this has been many, many years that you've been doing
so
this.
8 years for the first
one. And then
one.
when was the last one that opened?
In 2017.
2017. So well established before the pandemic hits, which is great because nothing better than talking to franchise owners. I opened in January 2020.
We
and
had.
You're like, oh, so you were already established. You already had that word of mouth.
Yeah, we
going.
did have centers open in COVID, but I wasn't one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how were you affected tremendously from the pandemic, or you were able to just keep on moving?
So I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but well, it was a big change for us. The pandemic changed how we do business. It really changed how we can function and serve our clients most effectively, which was actually a gift. And 2020 was one of my best years ever. 2021, 2022, I think we're just on this trajectory, and for a variety of reasons. I think people are realizing what's important, taking a real inventory of how they want their lives to live out and how they want to be intentional about not just how they spend their time, but their health. And for us, that's been a gift where people are looking and saying, what are some things that I can do naturally that can really improve my quality of life at every age? And that's our passion.
Well, and stress and women does not go hand in hand, people, when you're hitting menopause. Yeah. So now you have the whole cortisol issue and all of that, and this goes perfectly in line with what it is that Be Balanced does. So talk about that.
It's exactly what we do. And I think that as women, we're not giving ourselves permission, nor does often the community give us permission to say it's a lot. We keep all the balls in the air, and it all looks beautiful. But our bodies are taking a toll. And people don't understand that the symptoms that they're experiencing, and when they're going to their doctors and saying, I can't sleep, or I'm experiencing anxiety and depression, it's always just take this pill. But I think people are starting to say, wait a minute, what are the root causes and why is this happening? And if you think about as we age, our stress threshold of what we can manage lowers. And that's just natural. What we can manage at 22 and what we can manage at 55 are different. And typically our stress threshold, or our stress, is much higher now than it was when we were 22. So that disconnect is really what's creating that problem. And so for us, we are naturally supporting the adrenals, which make some of the hormones, cortisol, which is one of that you mentioned. So understanding the transfer of different hormones and how they can be balanced naturally is what we focus on. But helping women to say, just because you carry it does not mean it's not heavy. There's a lot going on for women that we hold together, running kids here, dealing with elderly parents, dealing with all of these, stresses of life. And then on top of it, we're running home to work out hard. Stress doesn't care if it's a wedding or a funeral. It's all coming down on you. And even heavy workouts at some point in time are not reaping the benefits that you were hoping for. And so by educating women, giving them permission to take a look at what they're doing is really part of our process.
I was really startled to hear that the harder you work out at a certain age, that can be detrimental for a woman. And I was really astonished to hear something like that. So having that education for women to understand where you are in life and what it is that you should and should not be doing is really important. And that's something that you're educating your clients about that, right? And it's funny because I just spoke to a business owner just last week and she was totally stressed and I went, it's okay to say that you are. I go, let it out. And she was like, I said, say it out loud. Yeah. Because when we're all holding, it's going somewhere and it's nothing healthy. No. That is for sure.
Agreed. And it's not that we don't want people to be strong and be fit, but understanding why we're working out, what we're trying to accomplish. If it's to lose weight, it's probably not going to work out in what you're hoping for. But if it's to be strong and be fit, we'll support that and we will really guide you through what that looks like.
Wow. Wow. All right. So you get through the pandemic, it changes your business in different ways and actually makes the business better and stronger. And I always do love when I talk to franchise owners that they go, I'm embarrassed, we did really well, because there were sectors that did fantastic. And then there were others that didn't. So the fact that you were able to come through, that's what I'm looking for. When I'm talking to candidates, I'm like, what did well before, what did well during, and what's going to continue to do well? And you would fit into that category for me. So 2021, 2022 now, what are your goals for this year? You know, we just closed out the first quarter. What are your goals? What is it that you're looking for the rest of the year for your businesses?
Well, we were, up significantly for last year, and then into the first quarter, we're doing really well. And I think that 2022 is just continuing to build on what the awareness that 2020 created. And so I see great things ahead. We're opening new centers, and the centers that we have are really thriving. And again, because we've learned how to do business differently, we've offered more virtual options now. We are always going to be a brick and mortar because we've learned that our clients want that connection, want to have relationship. They don't want just an online, a kind of program. So we will now offer virtual opportunities, but that does grow our community. It also gives more flexibility to those women who are really busy. So 2022 is going to continue with that. And, we're just getting better every day at what we do. And I'm excited about, for us internally, what we're growing in the home office and some real focus that we have on profitability and how to really make all of our centers stronger and better and more consistent. So that's my focus.
That's a great focus.
Which, because I didn't mention, I'm not just we didn't kind of
right,
make that transition.
That was my next lead-in.
I apologize.
Is that no, Paget is not just a client. She's not just a franchise owner. She is also now part of the corporate structure for making Be Balanced a much stronger system across the country as director of operations. So what is your role for that?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think that it's been cool. And one thing I should mention that I'm really excited about is now I operate 3 locations who actually are having their best years ever, and I'm not in it. So this is definitely a workable program and business for individuals who want to build to the point of being offsite owners. Right. I don't often recommend this as a beginning offsite owner. I really feel like you need that passion, you need that drive to get it up and running. But now I have an amazing team. And so my focus has changed from being client supporting to being team supporting. And we are a focus on women and giving women the opportunity to live the highest quality of life through hormone balance, through education, through understanding their health differently. Now I'm giving other women the opportunity to live out their purpose and their joy and their passion by serving in these centers. So that's exciting to me, is I have this great team who just loves what they do. And so it's awesome to see them growing as I've kind of stepped out of daily operations in my centers and moved into the home office. I've allowed them kind of to take over. But so now in the home office, I've got this intimate understanding of what these centers need from us. Right. And I think that's so important. I don't know how a home office of any franchise can operate without knowing how the systems work, how they interact, what are some of the challenges. And so that's been fun to be able to work with my peers, because I've known all of the franchisees that have come on. Sure. And now be able to say, listen, I hear you, and this is how we can move forward. And so my focuses are really brand awareness, getting some national understanding about who we are and what we do, because it's not an easy thing. We're not a Subway where what we do, what is hormone balance. And so we have to do some education. Secondarily, I'm working on training and consistency. And then third thing for my franchises is just increasing profitability while continuing an excellent client support and engagement.
And to provide all that is needed to those franchisees so that they can get up and running and they can be as successful as you were all these years with your centers.
Yeah. I have to say, though, it's hard if you move from being a franchisee and like being at the top of the KPI charts, and then you start to see your proteges like following you. So I have to put on my home office hat and I'm like, okay, they're beating me. I'm okay with that. But
I'm going to cheer them and support them.
But it's a compliment because they're doing well. And so many centers are really doing incredibly well. We have some great areas, and so it's fun to watch them grow.
Wonderful. Well, that is a great place for us to take a quick commercial break, and then we will be back on the other side.
Guess what it is? It's Mount Laurel, New Jersey. It's RBN Television, and you know that it's time for morning coffee.
Come join us on April 25th at the Wall of Love and Hope as we fight to keep families together. Only you can make this change happen.
Welcome back to Franchise Focus, and I'm your host, Lisa Lankowski, and sitting with me is Paget Rhee, who is the multiple owner of Be Balanced Hormone and Wellness Centers, as well as running in the corporate office as Director of Operations. Yeah. And you quickly, on the other side of the commercial space, you talked about, I'm not in it anymore, now my team is running it, and now I'm off in corporate, and I went, labor shortage, labor issues. Yeah. How have you been dealing with that? Do you have a great team in place? We'll knock on wood that, this has not been an issue for you?
So I'm not going to say it's not been an issue for me. The nice thing about Be Balanced is I don't need 100 employees. I need a few very committed employees. And actually, I prefer a little wisdom and age. So I'm not, what I hear from a lot of people looking for franchises, like, I don't want to manage 50 teenagers. And I don't manage 50 teenagers. I have a team of women who are so passionate and committed to what we do and to the well-being of their clients. Most of them have been clients. So what ends up happening is, just like me, we get so excited because I don't want to be part of something that I can't under-promise and over-deliver. And when we can provide an excellent experience that changes lives, then you just want to be part of it. So I do have an amazing team who just love being part of what we do. And hopefully as we grow, they're compensated well, but they're compensated in just a group environment. We took a retreat last week. We do a lot of things together. So they enjoy the community, they enjoy the success, and they're passionate about seeing clients succeed.
And that is really important. It's one thing to just pay a set amount and then that's it, but you've got to make these people really want to be there and feel it as much as you do with that, exactly what you said. So drawing from your people that have actually had the success with it is an excellent way of finding your employees rather quickly.
When people show up and say, I want to work here, I'm like, okay, great, let's
talk.
Board. Yeah.
Okay.
And most of them are that way.
So another purpose for why I host this show, Paget, is because I have been in franchising myself for 8 years, and it is a tremendously male-dominated area. It's getting less so, but it is still predominantly male. And I love your answer to this, we actually just had spoken about it, but what has been your experience as a female business owner in the franchise space?
I was thinking about this when I saw that question. I thought, I must run in the right circles, I guess, because I just, the CEO of Duck Donuts is a friend and colleague, and I know several people who own multiple Massage Envies and Edible Arrangements, and most of our franchisees are 90% women. So that's been my experience in this world, is very women dominated, but I'm just in my particular sectors. So my experience has been different than seeing
but
that.
A lot of this comes to culture when you're trying to find that right fit. If that's something that's important to you and it's less intimidating, then that's already right out of the gate something for a candidate to be considering when they're looking at something like this.
Well, absolutely, and this is something I do want to say. Why would someone want to be a Be Balanced owner? Just because just the same way that our clients are really taking an inventory of their life and where they want to be and how they want to live, the best candidates are the ones who are looking the same at their life and saying, I want to do something that I would do whether I got paid or not. Now, of course, we want to get paid, but I love what I do every day. I'm in a place that I'm incredibly challenged and excited and passionate, and most of our owners come in with that kind of purpose. Like, I want to live and work in something that gives me that kind of purpose, and so those are our best candidates. The ones who just say, I want to make a difference in the lives of other women, and I thrive on that. And I'm seeing that there are a lot of people kind of making that shift, going, do I want to leave corporate America and really dive in locally to something that I'm passionate about? And those are our best candidates.
Right, absolutely. And I say that all the time. I go, take the money piece aside. Now you're married to this concept for the next 10 years. You
Hopefully
need
longer.
to love it,
Yeah.
right? Hopefully longer.
Yeah.
You need to love it. You need to have it completely. That's how I was with my franchise. I talked about it until my family and friends were sick of hearing me about it.
I know, I try not to say much to my friends anymore, but
yeah, they're just like, here she's going to talk about it again. But it needs to just completely live inside of you because you're that excited about
well,
it.
and the other thing I was thinking about is, I love that because I'm living in this brand is giving me, we always say we need to be the brand. And this brand gives me the opportunity to live the way I want to live, with wellness, with mental health, with giving myself and supporting myself as a woman and mother and friend, where if I owned, I'd love to own, Nothing Bundt Cakes because I love Nothing Bundt Cakes, but I probably would not be living in the brand that I want to live because that would just be too tempting. So I think this also gives you an opportunity to be the brand, to live the brand, be healthy at any age. I've done things in the last 10 years I wouldn't have done before 45. I'm 54 now, I'm gonna be 55 next month. I've done mountain biking down Killington. I hiked Machu Picchu with my daughter. I've done things at a different age where a lot of people are thinking, oh my gosh, you're too old to do these kinds of things. That's the life I want to live, and be balanced supports us as women living the highest quality of life at any age, because hormones control our energy, our sleep, our libido, all of our depression, anxiety, and weight gain. So for me, this is a great brand because it allows me to spend my life living it and really be part of it in my lifestyle.
All right, so Paget is, as you can see, as passionate of a business owner as you can get. But we know it's not all butterflies and unicorns being a business owner, right? We know that there are just incredible rocky times where you really want to just curl up in the fetal position and just be done, right? What has been the biggest obstacle that you've encountered during all of this, and how did you overcome that?
Oh, wow. That's a deep one because it's been a lot of years. I think the beginning was the toughest. So I think anybody will anticipate, the beginning being the toughest, where you just are, kind of getting your bearings and getting your feet under you. And then really honing the profitability side. For me, I had to learn a big difference between revenue and profitability. And maybe that is like natural to a lot of people that came into this as business owners. I didn't. I just wanted to do what I love. And I just thought my path to profitability was higher revenue, and that actually wasn't accurate.
That's
so
correct.
Actually now my revenues are lower, and that's why I look at the KPIs and see people that are higher than me, and I'm okay with it because I'm running my path and I'm running my race, and I'm doing very well in my race. And so it's been about understanding my costs, understanding my cost of goods, all the things that we need to keep in mind. So just really be thinking both sides in profitability. It's not always about raising revenue, it's also about where I can cut. And so I've been able to really pass that on to the franchisees, looking at more efficient, streamlined ways. So I think for me, that was probably a big lesson that it took me a little while to learn.
Yeah, and it is so important. I had Alyssa McCabe, who's a fantastic, she's got a fantastic accounting company, and she talked about, if you've got a business that's $2.5 million, and your gross profit is 20,000. Not so impressive.
Good. No,
right?
not at all.
Not so impressive. Exactly. I watched on Shark Tank just this week where
they said, how much does it cost you to do business?
It was 70% was their marketing spend.
Oh my God.
And they were like, we're out because what are you
can't.
doing with that? So you have to get all of that in line, and that can be extremely painful when you don't really know what it is that you're doing. I recommend making sure that you're with a really great CPA or really great bookkeeper that can help you do that kind of thing. Yeah. But you're right, it can sink a business very fast because you go, but I'm making so much money.
It felt like that.
But none of it is coming to me anymore.
Yeah, what are the right percentages of employee costs, where I need to be with marketing, like all those things, and staying within those strict guidelines, because it used to be I would just like, I'll spend this on marketing, I'll just do that, and
here's a check.
I've learned a lot.
And everyone comes knocking.
They do.
Everyone comes knocking. Everyone wants your money when you are a new business owner.
Yeah.
So in learning to say no and to set those
and
guardrails.
Watch your numbers. Like know how you're going to measure it. Know how you're going to know, is this the return that I'm hoping for? Know what you're hoping for. Even like in digital marketing, sometimes I say part of the problem with some of our franchisees is they're always complaining, I'm not getting enough, but they didn't have anything to measure it by, or realistic expectations about what success looked like by how much money they were investing. So I think those kinds of things are important. If you don't know that, just get with somebody who does. And
absolutely.
hire to your weakness.
And you can't just look at your bookkeeping for, well, I've got to get my taxes done. No. You have to be looking at it all year long. You've got to have exactly what you said, guardrails. So we've talked about women, but do you offer your services to men?
We do actually, yeah. So we may be growing, that more. Our key focus is women. We want to do what we do with excellence. And so I was with Jim Collins a few weeks ago, and really what we do, we're going to be the best at it. And we are the best at working with women in natural hormone balance, 15 to 20 pounds a month every day. That's the norm. I love it when people contact me and say, I lost 20 pounds. I'm like, I'd love to say you're special, but that's kind of the norm. So, by getting everything back in track, that's the norm. We do want to work with men. We do incredibly well with men, and that might be a focus when we feel like we, have done everything we can with our women. So we're looking in that in the next few years.
Excellent. And you, I assume, have, we haven't gone into this, but you're not doing blood work on site, right? You're not doing any of that. No. They're working with their primary doctor, I assume, to get those numbers for you.
Very interesting. No, we are non-medical and we are all natural. Okay. And in fact, there are lots of naturopaths and functional doctors, physicians who kind of are on the same understanding. We use a very distinct symptom-based analysis to understand what the hormone imbalances are. It's very clear. When you experience, and we have this all the time, thyroid issues, heavy periods, fibroids, it is very clear where those hormone imbalances are occurring. So for us, we're working off of that symptom-based analysis to understand what they're looking for. If they want to have lab work done, it would be saliva, not blood, and they can have that done through their primary care. It doesn't typically change much of what we do,
what your
and
process
we really
is.
want to stay, in the non-medical, natural, holistic realm. And so we do have a PA on staff who's answering any questions that may arise. Special cases, doesn't happen often. We do have, a person who's kind of on staff monitoring things, but it's not necessarily important for us on an everyday basis.
Okay, well, listen, ladies and men, you're having those issues that we just talked about. You go and look up to see whether or not there's a B-balanced in your area.
Or go online, and we can do it virtually, so I don't want to.
And go online, and for those of you that live in the central PA area, find your local B-balanced and head on in, and Paget and her team would be more than happy to help you out. Thank you so much for coming in today and being a part of Franchise Focus. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I am your host, Lisa Lankowski. Franchise Focus airs every Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I am a certified franchise consultant. You can find out more about me at milestonefranchising.com. And thank you so much for tuning in.